smart city, a global city. TK Wong personifies much of where the island state of Singapore wants to go. He set up his own internet company, Silk Route Ventures, in the early 1990s. Talking to him, you have a real sense of the path that is being mapped out for Singapore and its economy.
We called it Silk Route Ventures because, like the internet, the Silk Road really created trade all the way from China to India. And we think the internet is going to create a new kind of trade. And that's why we wanted to call it Silk Route.
Okay, this is the visa for your trip to India, which you sign here.
Okay. How's the accommodation? Silk Route has the distinction of being the first internet company in Singapore. We were founded in '94, so we pride ourselves to be a pioneer in this industry here in Singapore.
Silk Ventures, good afternoon.
The business has gone from what is the internet, will it be around, to today, where everybody is very hot about e-commerce. In fact, businessmen in Singapore are all thinking very hard about what this new business means to them and how it's going to impact upon their survival in the 21st century.
Singapore has staked its survival in the 21st century on becoming a global hub, with much of the world's information, knowledge and ideas flowing through it.
Singapore, as you know, has been a great trading nation, and in particular, it being a very strategic location for a port, has benefited by making itself duty-free. In other words, allowing shipments going across from Singapore to a neighboring country to be duty-free. And we as a country has benefited tremendously from having that position. I think the challenge for us is then, how do we transport this duty-free idea into the cyber world, and by doing that, become, again, a strategic hub. Now, in the cyber world, they have a favorite saying, cyberspace has no respect for geography, physical geography. So you need to create new strategic advantage. And so I've tried to push this idea about what is the equivalent of a cyberspace duty-free port.
Part of Singapore's strategic advantage over KL is already in place. A hardwire network called Sing One puts every home, office and school in the city online. The basis of a much grander project, that of turning the whole city into what they called an intelligent island.
The interesting thing about this whole thing is about knowledge and about attracting people is history has always been by accident. New York was an accident, becoming a financial services center, London, Silicon Valley. They were not all planned, but yet it happened. I was at the EDB industry. So I think the big challenge for our country is to do the planning that's needed to make it happen, but then let go and let the talent actually make it happen on their own. It has to be very organic in this new economy. It doesn't happen by just by planning and trying to put a strong hand. So that's another dilemma I see the country going through, where we've been excellent at planning and executing on the plans. But today it's planning, creating the environment, and then essentially letting chaos take hold.
Letting chaos take hold is not easy in Singapore, where everything is organised. Jazz bars like Harry's on Boat Quay have become fashionable places to be seen. But even this has been planned down to the last detail as part of an entertainment zone designed to make the city more attractive to skilled people.
Talent is like the internet. It has no respect for geography once again. Talent moves to where they can flourish and where they're most valued. So Singapore has to build a very conducive environment to attract talent. So we have put in quite a lot of things to attract foreign talent. In fact, that is one of the key drivers for Singapore to build itself into a knowledge capital.
Late May, and we're not sending it back.
To succeed, Singapore has to attract the right people. We met William Moss, who moved from California to join Silk Route in 1995. He clearly believes Singapore will make it into the information age.
I knew almost nothing about Singapore until I moved out here. I didn't know anything about Singapore's, push to be a media hub, a digital hub. These were all things that became clear to me only after I got here. Governments in this region get on the bandwagon, and it really drives the industry. But it's also a little strange. It's different from the States, where it seems to sort of grow more organically. Here it's been a big push. We must become digital. We must be a digital hub. And so everything has blossomed very quickly.
The gate for my father and me when I was young.
There always need to be hotspots for any industry and places where people can be drawn to and cross-pollinate. But in terms of the knowledge economy, I don't think it can be limited to a few strategic locations. It's going to be pervasive.
We have no physical resources. We really depend on people. And the foundation of the network economy is about ideas, innovation, imagination, and that only comes from people. We only have 3 million people. So it's absolutely critical that even though today we are a manufacturing-oriented country, that we have to shift ourselves into a knowledge-driven economy. Because the manufacturing activities in Singapore, the lower value-added activities, are moving out into lesser developed countries where the cost is lower. The only thing we have that is scalable is people's ideas.
Shows you all the new features of Director 7, and we can go into green as well.
We have a bunch of different rabbit images for the Chinese New Year card. I can show you some of them now.
I think the creativity is everywhere. I don't think the creativity is limited to a few locations. If you had asked me before I moved to Singapore if I thought the creativity was here, I probably would have said no, laboring under a stereotype.
Okay, this is the very, very traditional character, the ancient one. That's probably not suitable. This is more freehand style.
But it is here. And the creativity isn't what Singapore is obviously pushing. Singapore is pushing the infrastructure. But when you look at what surrounds the infrastructure, you find the creativity. Some cities are lucky enough to have great concentrations of people doing creative work. And for those of us who are in these cities, that's great because we can really learn from each other. It doesn't mean that you're in a vacuum if you're outside of them. Particularly not with the internet. You can pull in ideas from everywhere.
Intelligent Island is Singapore's vision into the 21st century. It is the basis of our knowledge-driven economy. And it is the infrastructure, the process, and the talent that will go into Singapore's quest to be a knowledge-driven capital of the world. The multimedia super corridor in Malaysia is very much a similar attempt by our neighbors Malaysia to create the same kind of infrastructure to help Malaysia propel into the 21st century.